Good morning, children. In today's lesson, we are going to revise how to use an apostrophe to show contraction. This is something that we started to learn in autumn term of year 2. Because it is quite a new concept to us, we are revisiting it today again. And then later on this week, we are also going to have a go at using the apostrophes to show contraction in our own writing. So what does it mean when we use an apostrophe to show contraction? So a contraction means that we make a word shorter. To contract means to make something shorter. So for example, as we can see in this lovely picture, we have the words I am, and which become contracted to I'm. Children, can you see what has happened to the two words I am? That's right, they became squashed together, didn't they? Became squashed together. Oh my goodness. And what's happened to one of the letters, children? That's right, letter A got squashed out completely. But we still need to show that there was a letter there. So what did we use instead, children? You see, that's right, we use an apostrophe instead. So let's have a look at some examples. So we are going to be looking at full and sometimes called expanded form of the words and at the contracted forms or the contraction. So our first example are the words there is. Children, when those two words become contracted, can you see what's happened? That's right, the letter I. Let me just cross it out for you. The letter I gets squashed out completely, children. And the two words get squashed together, contracted together. And instead of the letter I, we have the apostrophe between E and S. Lovely. Now let's have a look at the next example. We have two words, where is. Could you explain what happens to where is when those two words become contracted? That's right. The letter I gets squashed out, and instead of the letter I, we have an apostrophe there. An apostrophe there. Our next example is I am, which we've already talked about. Let's have a look at they are. They are. Children, what happens when we contract two words they are? That's right, it's the letter A that gets squashed out completely, and instead we have an apostrophe there between they and RE. Now, I have included two more words here, and let's listen to how we read them. There, there, there. Children, what did you hear? Let's do it again. There, there, there. What is the same about those three words, children? That's right, they all sound the same, children. And did you know that the words which sound the same but are written differently are called homophones? That's right, they are called homophones. Can you say that, children? Very good. So here we have three homophones, or words which sound the same, but they are spelled differently. So what is the difference between them? How would we know which one to write in our sentence? So let's have a look at the homophone there, which is a contraction. And we know that it's a contraction for they are. So if I have there in a sentence and I can change it for they I know that I need to write this form of the homophone, this contraction. If my sentence talks about a place, for example, I saw a tall tree over there, I know that that can't be a contraction because I could not say I saw a tall tree over they are. So it's not going to be this homophone. It is going to be the word there, T-H-E-R-E, as in describing a place. And then final there shows a possession, shows that somebody, a group of people, usually, or animals, owns something. So, for example, I could say the girls hung their coats on their pegs. So that tells me that the coats and the pegs belong to the girls. It might be a good idea, children, if you can now pause and write a sentence for each of these homophones, just to make sure that you understand their meaning. And when you're ready, we can carry on our learning on the apostrophe and the use of apostrophe to show contraction. Now we have the next set of words. We are. We are. Children, which letters get squashed out when we create a contraction out of we are? That's right, again, it's letter A, isn't it? And then the two words get squashed together and we have an apostrophe in exactly the place where the A would have been, children. Oh, but again, have a look at these two words. Where, were. Where, were. Are these two words homophones? No, they are not, because they don't sound the same. But look, we write them very, very similarly, don't we, children? So what is the difference between these two words? Well, where is short for we are. So if in your sentence you can replace where for we are, you need to use this contraction. Were is a verb, and we would use it in a sentence, for example, we were going for a walk, but we changed our mind because it is raining. So we were going for a walk. It is a verb, children. Now let's have a look at this contraction. I have the full form, I have. I have. And the contracted form is I've. Children, what do you notice? Is it just one letter that has been contracted out? No, it's two letters this time. You're absolutely right. Letter H and letter A have all been squashed out, and instead we use an apostrophe, but those two letters would have been. Now, children, what we do have to be careful of, and what has crept into our language recently, but it is a rather bad grammar, is the use of I of. Now, the correct form is I have, not I of. So, for example, I have been for a walk, not I of been for a walk. So the Queen would definitely not use I of. So we need to be aware of this, children, and use in our writing and in our speech I have. Now let's have a look at this example, children. I would. And this is the contracted form. Children, can you see how many letters have been squashed out and contracted out of the word? Let's count together. W, O, U, L. That's 4 letters that have been squashed out of those two words when the words are contracted together. But my question to you is, children, do we need one apostrophe for every single letter that has been missed out? Do we need 4 apostrophes if 4 letters have been missed out? No, you are right. We only need one. Very good, children. Very good. Now let's have a look at this example. It is. It is. When we contract it, this is a very, very simple contraction because only one letter is squashed out, and that's the letter I. And the contraction becomes it's. It's. However, children, we also have a homophone, another homophone, it's. 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 So how do I know which one to write in my sentence? So let's have a look at my sentences. If I have a sentence, it's raining, and I can replace my contraction for it is raining, and my sentence still makes sense. It means that I need to use the contraction it's with an apostrophe between T and S. If, however, I have a sentence like this, which says the peacock had loads of feathers, its feathers were colorful. Let's have a look. Could I replace this it's for it is? Could I say it is feathers were colorful? No, that wouldn't make sense, would it, children? So that means that I must not put an apostrophe here because it is not a contraction. In fact, it's a word in its own sense because it shows us that these feathers belong to something. And in fact, it tells us that the feathers belong to the peacock. Children, I'm going to attach to the tapestry post a link to this PowerPoint. And inside this PowerPoint, you have loads of activities which help you to practice the use of apostrophe for contractions. So at home, have a go at as many activities as you like, which should all help you to learn and remember this concept. You're also going to have access to this home activity booklet. And in the home activity booklet, you have a choice of 4 tasks. Now they all start with the easiest task and finish with the most difficult task. It would be lovely, children, if you could have a go at 2 of the tasks. Now you choose which task you would like to have a go, but remember the task should not be too easy for you. They shouldn't be too difficult either. They should be just right, so they provide you with a bit of a challenge so that you can learn something new. Okay, children, so let's have a look. The first activity is called apostrophe ands, and it's very, very simple because all you need to do, you need to match up the contraction with the expanded form of the words. The second activity is called Andrew apostrophe. In this task, you have 2 little activity, or in this activity, you have 2 little tasks. You either need to write the contraction from the expanded form of the words, or the other way around, you are given the contraction and then you have to write the expanded form of the words. In the third activity, which is called Contraction Detective, you are given a sentence with the expanded form of the words. For example, in the morning, they will be going on holiday. And your task is to write the sentence with the contracted form of the words. So, for example, in the morning, they'll be going on holiday. Can you see, children, instead of they will, which is the expanded form, we have written they'll, which is the contracted form. And the last task, which is the hardest, but I know that many of you would be able to do it no problem, is called missing apostrophe. Here you are given a number of sentences and you have to find out which words have the missing apostrophe and then have a go at rewriting that sentence. Now, not all the words will have a missing apostrophe, so always remember, could you change the contracted form or the expanded form, and would the sentence still make sense? And then finally, if you still have time and would really like to practice the use of apostrophes for contraction further, you can choose the contractions that perhaps you are least familiar with or you find most difficult, and then use them in own sentences, children. You don't have to work on these worksheets. If you don't have access to the printer, you can always write the work in your red line book. I'm very much looking forward to receiving all your work on Tapestry, children. Bye for now.